Well, I'm not sure how to start this. I guess we could start it with when I seen the Akashic records, how I came to see them, or what I understand to be the Akashic records. It's December 2nd, 2017, and me and my ex, my son's mother, we were splitting up, and I'd been working all day. I stopped to pick her up, take her out to dinner, so we could talk about what we were going to do with our son and our grandkids. And we go out to dinner, and while we're at dinner, we get into an argument, and we leave. We're driving down the road, and we're arguing, and we're pretty heated argument, and I look up, driving down the freeway, driving down this vineyard road. It's called the Campo Road, and comes to a T intersection right there, right at another road called Treth Way, and we were almost to that intersection, and Janet said, "Fuck, Aaron," and I looked up, and there's the stop sign, and I hit my brakes, and the pedal went straight to the floor. I hit him 2 more times, and then we were off the road and into this yard, sliding across the grass. And I seen the first tree coming, and so did she, but she passed out, she fainted, and I just tucked my elbows into my ribs and squeezed the steering wheel, closed my eyes and squeezed them as tight and close as I can, and we hit the first tree directly in front of the steering wheel, lined up with the steering wheel perfect. We hit it so fast, going so hard, so fast, we hit it hard enough to ricochet off of it instead of coming to a stop. So we bounced off the tree, we went like this, and we went across this driveway, and we hit another tree with the front passenger top of the cab, smashing the top of the cab down, and then putting us onto all 4 tires again. And we were rolling backwards at this point at a high rate of speed. We hit the 3rd tree, and then we bounced forward about 2 foot, and we come to a stop. And all this seemed like it took forever, but it was real quick. I was never once knocked unconscious, and I remember every second of it. And we came to a stop, and I turned the truck off, and I opened my door, and in the time it took me to go from sitting in my truck to having 1 foot down outside of the truck, I was taken and I was shown a 6-month period of another existence, another reality, a parallel universe, another plane of dimension, another understanding, where both me and my ex, my son's mother, we were declared deceased at the scene of the accident. We were both dead on arrival. The paramedics, Janet wouldn't have died had the paramedics not drove past us 3 times because we were so far into these people's yard they couldn't find us. So Janet bled out. Me, I was dead on impact. I watched our funerals. I watched her family convince my son it was a murder-suicide. I watched my son lose his mind because I watched my grandmother grieve. I watched her cry for the first time in over 30 years. And it all happened in a second. By the time my foot hit the ground outside my truck, I didn't remember any of it. I didn't remember the wreck. I didn't remember the 6-month period. I didn't remember nothing. All I knew is I wanted to get back in my truck and go home. I wanted to go home. So I get in my truck and I'm trying to start it. And Janet says, "I think my leg is broken." And when she said that, all of it came back. The accident, the 6-month period when they convinced my son that I killed his mother, basically. it all came back like a flash, just like it happened all over again. And I looked at her and I said, well, I'm pretty sure it is. And I started getting on the phone with the paramedics, somebody. So paramedics get there and they drove past the place the first time, and I remembered the dream, I remembered the vision, I remembered that if they drove past 3 more times, she'd be dead. So I ran up to the road and I stopped the paramedics and I made them come down and help her. And they came down and I refused any help until they had her under control. And then a highway patrol lady come up and asked me if I'd been drinking. And I had 1 beer with dinner, 1 12-ounce can beer with dinner. That's all I had. That's all I'd been drinking all day. I'd worked all day. And so she's like, 1 beer with dinner, huh? Grabbed me by the shoulder, which was out of place. And I stopped her. I said, hold on. I put my shoulder back into place. And I got up. And I went over to a ambulance. And I sat on the bumper of the ambulance. And she gave me 3 different breathalyzers. 2 with the same machine and 1 with a whole new machine. And she was like, I guess you're right. 1 beer with dinner. And that was the last time I seen a cop. Well, the hospital that we went to, her family worked at. So the quality of care that I received was I was given a foam neck brace and a prescription for ibuprofen and told to go home. The next day I had vertigo so bad that I couldn't even move. My son and the neighbor picked me up and put me in a car, took me to a different hospital. They found out that I had a broken neck and a big bruise on my brain. So they strapped me to a bed, strapped me to a gurney or whatever the hell they're called, with the EMTs come and pick you up on. So they strapped me to one of those to where I couldn't move, tell me if I had to pee, sneeze, fart, to let them know that they would take care of it and I wasn't to do anything or I could die. And I was like, wow. I got to UC Davis and they did every test they could think of on me and then some, and were completely baffled how the bruise on my brain didn't affect me and the broken neck was completely stable, no side effects. Spent 6 days in UC Davis, but the first day I was there, like I said, I had vertigo so bad I couldn't even see. And the next day the vertigo started to go away, but I started to see this vision in my mind of file cabinets, all these file cabinets forever and ever. And as each drawer would fill up and it is shut, and the file cabinet would be pushed back, and a new file cabinet would show up, and then the drawers would fill up and they'd be pushed closed and they'd be pushed back. The more and more file cabinets showed up, the less and less vertigo I had, the more and more stable I felt. You know, one file cabinet filled up with all my childhood memories, one file cabinet filled up with all my future memories. It's hard to explain. That's when I first got a glimpse of the Akashic records. We all have access to them. We just need to remember how to do it.